California is brought to you by Jack in the Box. Taste the Homestyle Ranch Chicken Club today, only at Jack in the Box. And by Toyota, the full-line automaker with the longest-lasting vehicles in America. Toyota, let's go places.
Season finale today here at Safeco Field. It's a beautiful day. A's and the Mariners getting set to square off. The roof is open and lots of sunshine today here in Seattle. Game time weather presented by the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. Get to the beach. The admission-free boardwalk is open this weekend. And with lots of sunshine, it's 64 degrees. And it's about as good as you're going to get. Cool, comfortable, and lots of sunshine.
A lot of shadows too, Kyle.
That's right. With the roof open. Del Nuno, left-hander, fires the first pitch of the game, and it's to Marcus Semien, and it's a strike.
So across baseball, first pitches have been made.
12:09 first pitch.
You marked that down. Why'd you mark it down today so quickly?
I don't know. Just something to follow along today. Money to be made. 1-2 to Semien. We'll give you the rest of the A's lineup here in just a moment. Hard sliders on the inside. Semien, the hero last night, a 2-run homer in the 13th inning. His 15th of the year. He's hitting at 257. 15 homers and 45 RBIs for a shortstop. Umpires today: Mike Estabrook, Ed Hickox, Paul Nauert, and Dana Demuth.
Man of the hour right there, Mike Estabrook, the home plate umpire. See, he can blame it on the shadows as this game progresses after taking one off the chest protector.
So 2-2 the count.
Backdoor cutter, foul ball, right shoulder. Nothing to it. That's why we wear shoulder pads.
Another foul ball. This one high down the right field line.
Tota's trying to bunt and got a 3-1 and hit a 2-run home run. And great swing for Marcus Semien. That was game 161. Today 162. And Marcus has been in the lineup. He's done a great job and back there this afternoon.
And he hooks one down the left field line, just foul by about a foot.
Now Marcus Semien will not, or at least probably not familiar with Vidal Nuno, but the A's did face him when Nuno was with the Yankees a couple of starts. Getting the start this afternoon. King Felix Hernandez shut down for the season, as it was not possible for him to win 20. So after his last start, that was it.
And that one's driven toward left center field, and that's a base hit. And Marcus Semien leads off the game with a single. And that'll bring up Mark Canha. Here's the A's lineup for this afternoon: Semien, Canha, Lowry, Valencia, Butler, Reddick, Smolinski, Gentry, and Anderson.
And it is the left-hander Vidal Nuno who is pitched against the A's out of the bullpen with the Mariners, but as we mentioned, the starter with the New York Yankees, his 10th start overall. He's allowed 14 home runs and just allowed a base hit to Marcus Semien leading off the game after a very good at bat. Marcus seeing 9 pitches.
And Nuno part of the Mark Trumbo trade, which was with the Arizona Diamondbacks. So the Mariners got Nuno and Trumbo from Arizona. Lefty's been with the Indians, the Yankees, the Diamondbacks, and now the Mariners. And there's another hit. So Mark Canha reaches out, drops one into center field, and the game has started with a couple of base hits by the A's. So Semien and Canha aboard. That'll bring up Brett Lowry. Defensively for the Seattle Mariners today: Smith, Miller, and Trumbo in the outfield. Seager, Marte, Cano, and Morrison on the infield. And Jesus Sucre is the catcher.
First two batters for the Athletics in the lineup today, rookies, and Marcus Semien and Mark Canha.
Billy Burns getting the afternoon off. Stephen Vogt getting the afternoon off. To the 13-inning game last night. Lowry swung high and foul down the right field line.
You know, you could play 13 innings and you could play in a reasonably short amount of time, but 13 innings last night took 4 hours and 31 minutes.
Yeah, which is even long for a 13-inning game.
Exactly. And like you said, start at 6, you finish after 10, start at 7,
finish after 10.
That's a good statement.
Lowry a shot. Seager a nice play. Fires to second for one. On to first, and they get the double play. And Lowry hit that ball right on the button with a nice play by Seager down at third.
Well, he was the key to start the double play because it could have very easily gotten past him down the corner, but he stayed with it. And once he caught it chest high after the big hop on the hard ground ball from Brett Lowry, of course, hustling down the line, almost avoided the double play. But first 2 singles and now a double play turned. And you figure the left side of the infield is going to be busy with Nuno having most of his pitches coming inside of the right-handers.
First pitch to Valencia. That, I don't know, slider, cutter.
Yeah.
Really a lot of inward movement to a right-handed hitter.
Yeah, he'll throw it backdoor to the righties, and again, predominantly right-handed hitting lineup for the Athletics. As Reddick is in as a lefty. Anderson. But, you know, talking to Stephen Vogt last night, he said his body was so beaten up, but take a look at Nuno, the slider 40%, and that's the pitch he's throwing. Anytime a pitcher throws a breaking pitch more than his fastball, Nuno does that. You can tell that he does not want to challenge too many hitters.
But there it is again, right in.
But Steven, it's amazing. We have seen him getting beat up all season, and he said he got to the point last night throwing the ball back to pitcher was hard. His body was so just worn out, and you know he's had a great season. He takes the day off, and said the skipper might find a way to get him in the lineup somehow, some way today, maybe as a pinch hitter or whatever. But if he stands right there the whole game, so be it. He's had a great season, as we detailed in our open, and considering where he has been in his career and where he is now, it's quite impressive.
1-2 to Valencia. Trying to get Simeon home. He's at third with 2 outs. It is again inside.
We might as well expect it. If he throws a slider 40% of the time, they throw it backdoor, which a couple of guys got hits, and now to Valencia throwing them inside. That big finger pointing inside by Marte is going to do it again.
Broken bat. Sucre didn't see it initially, and he turns on and cannot quite get to it. So I can see where that pitch would drive a right-handed hitter crazy.
Yeah. Well, last night, first inning, 3-run home run by Danny Valencia, coming off a 2-run shot previous night. 2-0, and he did not miss it. Straightaway center, Brad Miller, a good effort, but no chance.
So 2-2 to Valencia. 18 home runs and 66 RBIs. And the slider, Valencia strikes out. So the A's get a couple of hits. The double play hurts them, and they strand one. Bottom of the first coming up. No score. the Seattle Mariners as they come to bat here in the bottom of the first. Marte, Seager, Gutierrez. Gutierrez will DH today. Cano, Trumbo, Smith, Morrison, Sucre, and then Brad Miller.
Well, it's not surprising the A's did not score because it's Chris Bassitt on the mound for the Athletics, and Jesse Chavez on the disabled list. He of little run support, and Chris Bassitt can take over for him as Chris is looking for his second win, 13th start. He's 0-2 against the Mariners in his career. So trying to pick up the win against the Mariners, trying to finish off his 2015 season with a win and a positive note. The skipper would like to win 3 straight against one of the teams he managed at one time, the Seattle Mariners, and try to finish the season winning 4 consecutive games after the big win against the Angels on Wednesday in Anaheim.
So Bassitt kicks and fires, and the first pitch is in for a strike.
Thought there was a man on base.
He's pitching out of the stretch.
I was looking for Anderson to give another sign, but he is pitching out the stretch.
Marte, Seager.
No, he's
Gutierrez.
not. He can't make up his mind.
Can't confuse us on the last day of the season.
He just did. I thought he was going out of the stretch, and then he goes into the windup. Comes to set position. There's the stretch, and now the windup.
In for a strike, 1-2.
I've never seen that. I have never seen that. So there's a sign, and there's this pause for the stretch, and then a windup. Oh, I see what he's doing. He's confusing and us.
And it's going to be a hit from Marte. Just tapped right out between the mound and home plate.
You know, with nobody on base, a pitcher can do anything he wants, and Chris Bassitt basically just did it. Because he changed, went straight from the setup, and Marte with a couple of strikes, out of the box quickly. Ryan Anderson couldn't get to it. Bassitt slow to get to the ball, and infield base hit. Ball topped out in front of the plate. So that's interesting. That's what's the beautiful thing about baseball. Come to the park every day, you might see something different.
Weren't expecting that.
No.
So here's Seager.
Now he has to pause.
Seager fouls the first pitch straight back. 268 with 26 home runs and 74 runs batted in for Seager. Gutierrez to follow here in the bottom of the first. He's got a couple of hits at the top of the first, but could not score. So what we're watching today, things that are yet to be decided. The AL West yet to be decided. One of the AL wild card berths yet to be decided. Home field for the AL wild card and home field for the NL wild card. Still don't know where those games are going to be played. And best record in the American League, Royals and the Jays, that has yet to be decided. So that is what is up for grabs today. So we're watching the Angels and the Rangers, and we're watching the Astros and the Diamondbacks. And Albert Pujols has already hit a home run in the top of the first inning, a 2-run shot. So the Angels lead the Rangers 2-0 in the bottom of the first in Arlington.
That's Cole Hamels, right?
That is Cole Hamels, yes.
And the Diamondbacks leading Houston 1-0. That's early, first inning. So, scoreboard watching all around baseball.
Arizona just got popped up on the infield. It's going to be the shortstop Simeon behind the mound, and he's got it. So 1 out here in the bottom of the first. A's defense for the season finale. Smolinski in left, Gentry in center, and Reddick in right. And Valencia, Simeon will be on the left side. Laurie and Canna on the right side. Brian Anderson is your catcher today. Lance McCullers is pitching that game for the Astros today, and A.J. Pollock hit a solo home run off him in the first. And as Ray said, Cole Hamels for the Rangers today, and Garrett Richards for the Angels. So that's a very good pitching matchup.
Garrett Richards, of course, more recent, I guess, most recently would be CC Sabathia going to Milwaukee and pitching on 3 days rest, and that's what Richards is doing today. Something that all pitchers did a while back. That's when they made 42 starts a year.
The Angels are the team that really cannot afford to lose today. In fact, if they lose, they're done.
Well, you know, after winning yesterday, that is a game that could propel them right postseason. And be down elimination 4 runs down in the 9th inning. I'm sure statistically it's available. Somebody has it, that how many times a team has lost a game when leading by 4 in the 9th inning. I mean, you have to probably go back who knows how many games.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just unheard of to have that happen.
A couple of the mainstays, Hernandez and Cruz. Never did hear anything on Nelson Cruz, Ray. Never came out of the game last night because he was DHing and then somebody hit for him.
I think that a calf injury, quad, there had been some injury that he'd been dealing with.
But I know you said he was not running real well.
Right. I think it was a lower leg issue that probably just long game as it was nighttime. And I mean, I give him credit for playing, and Logan McClinton, I'm sure, appreciative of wanting to play. But it was probably just something he didn't want to deal with and make worse going in the offseason.
Pitch. Anderson blocks it, picks it up, throws it into center field. And Marte gets up, and he's going to go to third. So Marte, when he saw the ball in the dirt, took off, and really the ball did not go real far away from Anderson, but then he airmailed the throw.
He did a good job of blocking the ball, and unfortunately he had Marte with a secondary lead, took off, and the throw offline into center field. And so it's a wild pitch since he wasn't running. Gets to second base and then on to third on the wild pitch. And on the E2. That was a wild pitch. That was a wild throw, too.
That was a wild throw. So another error for the A's. Number 126 on the year. Infield comes in with Marte at third. 3-2 to Gutierrez is down and in, and it's the 1-out walk. So runners at the corners for Robinson Cano, and we'll see if the A's now move back on the infield.
Now Cano's also dealing with some leg issues, and Bassett could get him to hit a ball on the ground. Pretty good chance that he could get a double play to get out of the inning.
And it sounds like Robinson Cano is going to have surgery soon, in the middle of October, for a sports hernia. And I think that's been bothering him the whole season.
Exactly.
First pitch, checks his swing, and it's outside. Homered last night, his 21st of the year.
Pitch inside part of the plate, and it was crushed. You don't have to use your lower extremities on a pitch like that. Just swing hard, upper body, and it's got the strength to do it.
One and 0 to Cano. Marte at third. Gutierrez at first. Swing and a miss.
Down the right field line, see the distance at the pole. It's 326 feet. And you think of Yankee Stadium where Robinson Cano played. It's like a chip shot to right field. And if it was 300 feet, maybe.
It wasn't 380 to right center at Yankee Stadium either, like it is in this ball.
But the fact that right field is so short at Yankee Stadium, so it had to be an adjustment for him. And being Robinson Cano, of course, he got a 10-year among his contract. I mentioned last night with David Bell and certain players try to change the game. King Griffey Jr., when he left the Kingdom, came here and hit a bolt that he thought was out to right field and made the warning track, and that's when he said, "Get me out of here." Yeah. It's just too big of a park, and you have the outdoor elements which contribute to a fly ball that may knock it down. Shadows, never had them at the Kingdom, which is now the football stadium for the Seahawks.
swing that time, and it fouls it straight back.
Are the Seahawk fans still talking about the interception at the goal line last year in the Super Bowl?
I don't know. I don't know.
I just heard a groaning behind us. Yes.
Probably something that they may talk about for a while.
For a long time. You're right.
I would have ran it, but that's really completely beside the point.
I think
you would have run it, right?
I think there's probably a lot of people wondering why didn't they run it. I mean, you only had the best running back in baseball.
See if the A's can turn two. Tag to first, and it is a double play. Nicely done by Brett Laurie, and it keeps the Mariners off the board. So each team with a double play in the first inning. No score after one. Strongest fan photo for the last time this season. Use hashtag CSNCA Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile. Who is that guy? Or it could be a gal.
You never know. Halloween's coming up in about 27 days. Already has the outfit ready to go.
First pitch to Billy Butler, just a little bit low. Butler, Reddick, and Smolinski here in the second inning. No score. Missed again, 2-0. A's come in with a 68-93 record. And finished with a 4-game losing streak. They will finish with the worst record in the American League. And when draft time comes around next year, they're going to have a very high pick. In the top 5 or 6, depending on what happens with a couple teams winning and losing today. Seager reaches out, makes a nice play, and throws out Butler. So you don't really, not really thrilled about losing this many games, but it helps you come draft time if you want to look at it that way. And you pick in the top 5. That's
you should. Yeah,
you better get it right.
And you have really the whole entire offseason leading up to June of next year in the amateur draft to watch as many players as possible and be able to. I mean, you look at clubs that are successful now. Houston Astros, for example, they had losing records, losing 100 games. Tampa Bay Rays, they had great drafts, and now all of a sudden they're in the top of the divisions. Rays are always there, it seems. Houston this year, we know the story about them.
Reddick takes a strike, 1-1. Well, right now, the team with the worst record is the Phillies. And then it's that one's driven to center. Miller turns around. He's going to get back there, and he reaches up and makes the catch. So 2 out. Now the Phillies have the worst record, then the Reds, and then the Braves. And then the Rockies and the Athletics are tied.
So there's something else to look for today, huh?
Yeah.
I guess in a negative way.
In a negative, in a strange kind of way. Let's see where the A's would pick in the draft. When I read it's the highest, whatever it is, 4, 5, wherever the final number is, it's the highest the A's will have picked in the draft since 1998, and that's when they took Mark Mulder, right?
That's right.
Second pick.
Look at the success the A's have had since then.
And that's what we hope happens.
Exactly. And I think they will. I think this has been a season of trying to figure out a ball club, and it's going to be an interesting offseason as well as last year and going into spring training. And maybe the A's can lose 22 games in the spring because they won 22 this year.
Just foul. Seager tried to get to it, couldn't do it. So the count remains 1-2 to Smolinski.
I think I read, and you probably read it too. Congratulations to the architects of Oakland Park in Mesa, the new facility. I guess won an award for one of the best designed facilities.
We agree.
Ted Polakowski did a great job, along with the rest of the staff, to get a great stadium for major league games, but the minor league complex has been outstanding as well. So much room there, you get lost.
Ted's the man down there.
Oh yes, he is the man. And they'll all be there. Maybe they're already. Bob Melvin, and as soon as this season is over, he's going to go home for a day back to the Bay Area and then head down to Arizona for the instruction league for a few days. Take a look at the players who are down there. Visit with the staff. So a short rest, but then be back home to watch his Cal Bears. You know that's going to happen.
Fouled straight back again. 2-2 the count. Hayes had a couple of hits to start the game. Could not push anything across in the first inning. He's on the road this year, are 34-46. They finished the home with a home record of 34-47. Hit hard and it rolls down the stairwell into the A's dugout. The shadow starting to. It's right at home plate right now. So that'll continue to move quickly. Next inning, it'll be between the first base line and the pitcher's mound. So the next inning or so will be tough on hitters.
And it's hard to tell these fans who are here supporting the Mariners close the roof to get better vision for the players. No, this is why they built this beautiful stadium here in Seattle. Tore down the Kingdom, imploding that. It was an indoor stadium, and these days like this really upset people to think, why would we go indoors when we can do something outdoors?
No question.
So the Seahawks next door, beautiful stadium there, and this baseball only facility.
Smolinski down the left field line, Seth Smith into the corner, and it's fouled.
Thirteenth pitch coming up in this at bat to Smolinski. Now Nuno with the big slider that he throws a lot, trying to get a put away pitch, a finish off pitch. He's not been able to do it. Simeon started the game with a 9-pitch at bat.
And another foul ball. This one bounces off the top of the A's dugout and then rolls into the dugout.
And it's rare for a right-hander to pull a ball into the third base dugout. But so many sliders thrown by this left-hander into the right-handers. Not surprised they're getting out in front and hooking them into the dugout.
This one hit in the air left center, but playable for Miller. Miller waits, he's got it. And it's a 3-up, 3-down inning for Vidal Nuno. No score as we go to the bottom of the second. The Walk in theaters in October. That thing's really high, Ray. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yeah, I think you told us about that. But it must be so high, you're going to tell us again. How high is it?
Just wanted to make sure everybody knew.
Is it real high?
It's high enough to make your stomach feel a little bit funny.
Did you hold on?
Well, it's glass enclosed.
Oh, it is.
So that's yeah. You're completely enclosed. It's like you're in a gondola.
But if you fell, it'd still be a long way, right?
Yeah. Like, it would not become shorter because you're in a gondola.
Or indoor glass.
No. But it's a good view.
It's great to look at from here.
Yeah. Trumbo leading it off, followed by Smith and Morrison. Ball hit hard right to Simeon, who has it. Trumbo is retired. Rangers answered back and got a run in the bottom of the first, so they're now in the second inning. Angels 2, Rangers 1. In that home field for the wild card game, the Yankees just need to win, and it'll guarantee them that they will be the home team in that AL wild card team. But they've had a tough time beating the Orioles. So the Yankees just want to win and know that they're going to be home on Tuesday for the wild card game. Right now, the Orioles are leading the Yankees 2-1 in the second inning. Same thing for the National League as far as hosting the wild card. The Pirates just need to win and they will host the Cubs, but the Pirates struggling some. If the Pirates were to lose today and the Cubs would win, the Cubs would host that wild card game. Cubs are winning 3-0. Pirates are winning 1-0. Both those games early yet.
And we were talking about the Dodgers. They would open, what is it, next Friday? The division series?
Yeah, and that's really the only matchup and where it's going to be played that we know. Can you believe that?
Yeah. And Kershaw is pitching today, so that would line him up for his 5th day next Friday if they stay on the 5-day.
And that'll be at Dodger Stadium. Mets at Dodgers on Friday.
And you know, Kershaw, because of his struggles in postseason, he might have asked for it. He said, "Give me the ball. Let's start me out," because that means, I guess, pretty assuredly that they could pitch games 1 and 5.
Yeah.
The opening starter. Although a couple years ago, as a matter of fact, when Scherzer started game 1 against the A's, and then Verlander came in, and Scherzer pitched in relief in a huge game 4 in Detroit. Turned out to be big. Bases loaded, nobody out. A's couldn't score. But I guess if Scherzer struck out 17 yesterday and it's no hitter, it's a strikeout pitcher, which he did that game in Detroit.
And you know, if you have somebody like Kershaw, Greinke as well. I mean, if Greinke was to pitch game 2, and if you needed Greinke in relief in games 4 or 5, he's ready for it.
Absolutely.
Give you a couple innings. That's a nice little bullet to have in the postseason. We saw it last year, of course, in the World Series, but I mean, you have to do things like that in the postseason. And
one of the changes they have made in the division series, there is an off day between 4 and 5.
Yeah.
At one time, it was straight through, and that made it difficult because you had a 5-game series, which now with the extra day, I mean, it does make a change. So you really have 2 days off. I guess that's one way of saying here's some extra time since it's not a 7-game series.
2-0 to Logan Morrison. It's hit high in the air, right center. Gentry calls off Reddick. Gentry has it, and Bassett has a 3-up, 3-down second inning. No score after 2 from Seattle.
About 2016 ticket plans. They're on sale right now. Get on board early. 2016 priority seating and choose your exact seating location for next season. The A's offer a variety of full and partial season plans that qualify for great benefits, including half-price parking, flexible ticket exchange program, and more. For more information, call 510-638-GO-A's or visit athletics.com/2016.
So that gentleman's ready to go. Ready to go where? I do not know, but he's ready to go.
That's a cool outfit, isn't it?
Yeah. There is a soccer game next door that will be starting tonight at 6:30. The Sounders, very popular here in Seattle. They draw huge crowds across the way at the football stadium. So they have a game tonight. But I think we'll be out of Dodge.
Good.
By the time that game is starting.
Because they will fill it up and there'll be a lot of people. And, you know, we get to hear the Sounder on the train tracks. And then the Sounders, maybe that's why they call them the Sounders.
I think it is, yeah.
It's a pretty good idea. Nice name.
Gentry to lead things off. 0-2 the count to Gentry. Anderson to follow, and then Semien here in the third. Gentry getting a couple starts in this series. I still think, Ray, I don't know if you agree with me or not. I think you do. I still think Craig Gentry, whether it be the A's or a different team, I still think he's got enough game that he could help a team. He just has had such a tough year. It's really one of those, for lack of a better term, maybe a wasted year for Gentry.
Right, it's
but
one of those
talented kid.
Absolutely. No, we saw him many years with the Texas Rangers, and I agree with you 100% that it's been a tough season for him, and to have to spend as much time as he did at Nashville AAA ball club and trying to get back to big leagues. He can offer a lot to a major league team.
Show off his speed here as that ball rolls into the corner, and he may have a chance to go for three. He's going to round the bag at second. He's going to try for third, and he is going to make it with a leadoff triple. The ball did not hit that little side wall. It rolled past it and right down into the corner, and Seth Smith had to chase it down.
Well, and that's all on the speed of Craig Gentry getting to second base and realizing what was happening down the left field line. And you know, it might have been easier for him to see what was happening instead of Ron Washington, the third base coach. And Gentry with the speed, you'd like to have the leadoff triple, don't have to worry about getting to third from second base, and past Seager at third and then down in the corner. And Seth Smith going after it. He planned, or he thought the ball was going to carry him off the sidewall. It did not. And once it got down in the corner, the jet strand, I'll tell you, you have that kind of speed that Craig Gentry has. Take it all the way.
So Anderson, a chance to knock in a run and give the A's the lead here in the third.
Now this is the speed kind you're talking about. This is something that can help somebody. The A's hope it really helps them because he has the speed and he can play the outfield. And now he might not fit in as an everyday outfielder, but boy, he can do so many things off the bench, fill in, speed. Billy Burns finally learning that speed doesn't go into a slump.
Anderson just trying to put it in play.
He's going to get a slider.
Yes, he is. All the infielders are back except Seager at third.
Take the slider to the opposite field. Don't open up. He's thinking about it. I figure in this situation, the pitcher would throw the slider to the middle of the plate, breaking away, instead of taking the chance of throwing it at the hitter, making a mistake in the inner part of the plate.
He's off that one, and now it's 3-2. Semien to follow. Drive to right. Trumbo back. Warning track in front of the wall. He's got it. And That's going to bring Gentry home. So good at bat for Brian Anderson. He gets the RBI, and the A's have a 1-0 lead here in the third.
Well, that was a great at bat, especially forced him to throw the slider in the middle of the plate to be able to hit it as far as he did.
Anderson gets his first RBI.
Well, you know, he took some sliders off the plate after swinging at 2 off the plate, and then forced Nuno to throw a strike, and that was the biggest part of the at bat, to be able to force him to come in the middle of the plate. Brian Anderson stayed closed enough, almost hit it out.
Simeon led off the ball game with the base hit, so his average up to 259. So maybe we can get Marcus Simeon up over 260 for the season.
Pretty good. You look up and down the lineup, and Mark Canha over 250, which hit in the first inning.
That one's driven to right. Playable. Trumbo is there. 2 outs. And Canha will step in. Diamondbacks still leading the Astros 1-0, top of the third.
You know, with the sun beating down on the out-of-town scoreboard, a lot of fans say, "Well, we can't see it. It's kind of
tough to see."
Yeah. With the sun over the first base dugout towards left field, and that's why it makes it a little difficult to see.
And of course, as we've mentioned many times, all the games starting at the same time today, except one exception. The Cardinals and the Braves actually playing a doubleheader today, which does not have any bearing in the standings. So their first game started a couple hours earlier. The Cardinals had 100 wins this year, and they have the best record in the National League. They know what they're going to do. They're going to face the wild card winner at home starting on Friday. Cardinals know when they're playing, and they also know they're going to play a division opponent. They just don't know if it's the Cubs or the Pirates.
And you talk about a strange day, a little before 1 o'clock local time. You look at the out-of-town scoreboard, and their numbers all over the place.
With every game about the same. Third inning.
That's right. I mean, that's unique, and so congratulations to Major League Baseball for making this the first year that this is taking place. And this place was sold out last year on the final day of the season with King Felix on the mound. And I was talking to some people. They said they were watching the A's and the Rangers in Arlington more than paying attention here.
That's right.
Because they figured if the A's lost, the Mariners had a chance to at least tie the Athletics for the second wild card. And then after the A's shut out the Rangers and won the second wild card, Felix took his last bow of the season and exited the game. They were close last year, and not so close this season, as they're playing really for nothing this final day of the season.
Last year the Mariners 87 and 75. Right now 75 and 86. Will he be back?
Yeah.
Lloyd McClendon, that's a big question. New general manager. Drive to center, hit well. Miller's going back near the wall, and that baby's gone. Canha homers, his 16th of the year, and the A's lead 2-0.
70 runs batted in with one swing of the bat for Mark Canha. Another 2-strike pitch, and Mark Canha got the slider, of course, because that's what Nuno throws. And Mark Canha with 16 home runs, 70 runs batted in. A first-year player. There's the backdoor cutter or slider. Left it up, didn't really throw it with a lot of conviction. And Mark Canha, see how the stride, the long stride, but kept the bat back and really generated a lot of power to left center for the home run. That's a big swing.
It's also the 4th home run he's hit against the Mariners this year. A couple of runs for the A's here in the third. Laurie hit a hard ground ball to third in the first inning and ended up a double play. 2-2 the count. George Springer doubled home a run for the Astros. So Astros Diamondbacks now tied 1-1 going to the bottom of the third. Laurie swings over top, and that's the second strikeout for Nuno. But a couple of runs for the A's. A triple by Gentry, a sac fly by Anderson, and a home run by Canna. And the A's lead 2-0.
In the bottom half, and you notice the black wristband for the bat boy on the Seattle Mariners, KC. And boy, a sad note today as we note that Kaiser Carlisle, 9-year-old bat boy for the Kansas baseball team, actually was accidentally struck in the head by a hitter who was getting ready to go to the plate to take his at bat. This was at the Liberal BJ's Summer League in Liberal, Kansas, and 9-year-old Kaiser Carlisle struck in the head by a bat as the player was getting ready. Young boy was wearing his helmet, but unfortunately passed away the next day after he was hit on August the 2nd. So all the bat boys today wearing the black wristband in honor of him, and that's why it says KC. And this is the first annual Kaiser Carlisle Memorial 5K run and walk in Liberal, Kansas. So sad day, but Ted Walsh, who is the visiting clubhouse manager, pointed out, had the flyer on that, and that's why they're all wearing the black wristband with KC on it. So we wish that family in Liberal, Kansas, has to be a very heartbroken family for that to have happened.
And he was wearing his helmet.
Wearing his helmet, yeah. But it was just a hitter taking his practice swings before he went up to hit, and as Kaiser was going back with a bat to the dugout, he took the swing and I guess kind of walked right into the swing, and unfortunately hit him hard enough that he did pass away the next day. So 9 years young. I'm sure very devastating for that team as well.
Bassett thought about going to second when he'll get the sure out at first. So Miller is retired on the ground out, but Sucre now in scoring position.
Good play by Bassett. You want to make sure you get one out. You don't want to open up a big inning early and trying to get the lead runner at second base. And that's where a catcher could come in very quickly and just yell first or one, whatever sign they have verbally, to make it easier for the pitcher to know where to throw the ball.
So here's Ketel Marte, who had an infield hit in the first inning. Fastball away, 94 miles an hour from Bassett. .286 the average for Marte. his debut, major league debut, on the 31st of July. So a line drive, Canna, and the out is recorded on the catch as the ball was dropped on the exchange. So it is a line out. Canna was looking to second. He wanted to give it a shot there to get a double play.
Well, it took a hit away from Marte and an RBI. Great play. Watch him go to his right. Canna, and you're right, going to his knees. He took the ball, was taking the ball out of his glove, and that's why Ed Hickox, the first base umpire, pointed out it was a catch. And Simeon looking at him as he was getting close to second base, and it might have been able to double off Marte, or Sucre, that is.
So that'll bring up Seager. Bassett trying to strand Sucre at second base, hang on to his 2-0 lead. Seager had a pop up to the shortstop. It's blocked by Anderson.
It's like a little confusion between Anderson and Bassett, and now they're going to talk about it. And I don't know if that's Bassett telling him which sign to use or what he wants to throw. Remember, Brian Anderson just joined the club a couple of weeks ago in Houston after Josh Fegley had to actually not able to play the remainder of the season after suffering a little bit of a concussion. So Anderson trying to do his best behind the plate, doing a good job blocking balls. Drove in the first run, trying to get on the same page with his pitcher.
In the air towards center field. Gentry is under it. Side retired. Runner stranded. When we come back, our A's insider Joe Stiglitz is going to join us. We're going to talk a little baseball. 2-0 A's after 3. California.com is our A's insider Joe Stiglitz, who has done it all year. He's provided wire-to-wire reporting of the season, breaking news, video special features, and much, much more. Only on CSNCalifornia.com. That's Joe right there. And
here's
this is
Joe.
Joe right here.
Right here.
Joe, thanks for stopping by.
How you doing, guys? Thanks for having me up
Where's
here.
your jacket? Nice shirt, but you need a jacket.
I'm toughing it. I'm being tough today. Going short sleeves up in the press box.
Well, I know you were interested in all of Keif's wear. You know, he had some nice digs in it. You know,
he's been rocking some nice clothes this trip. I got to diversify my wardrobe.
It's going to cost you, Joe. Well, you've worked hard all year. We appreciate all the work you do for the website.
Thanks, been enjoying it.
What are you going to take away from this season? Obviously, the win-loss record is the most important thing, but maybe look past that if it's possible and break down this 2015 season.
Yeah, you know, what a change from the past few years, right? Where the last game of the season, we've been looking ahead to the postseason plans, or last year they were playing for their postseason lives last year, obviously on the last day, and not the case this season, and you're kind of forced to look to the future a little bit. And you're looking to the future and just seeing how this team can build, what kind of foundation it's building for the future. So really the past month, it's been about you're kind of watching this team and seeing how it unfolds, if you can, who you can envision being out there next season, you know. So you look at guys like Billy Burns and Mark Canha and some of the young guys on this pitching staff, if they can get healthy, just trying to see how these pieces could fit in next season. That's kind of the focus, I think, of this organization right now, really. We've seen that in some of the trades they've made this season, too.
It's been in your impressions of the three rookies, and you mentioned a couple of them, but with Canha, first-year player, Burns, and Marcus Semien, three guys that we were talking in our opening day and with the guys back in San Francisco about how kind of the cornerstones of this ball club for the future. And you got three rookies that in the past the A's have not used that many rookies. What has been your assessment of those three?
Yeah, I think a lot of encouragement right there. And you look at Billy Burns, I mean, a guy who kind of really burst on the scene, wasn't expected really to play this kind of prominent role this season. And what he does in center field and in the leadoff spot, I think, he's an electrifying kind of player, you know, the things he can do. It's not just, he doesn't need to hit the ball over the fence or even drive in a run to really spark the team. We've seen him go over the fence and you know, bring back home runs, get an infield hit just to spark things. He can do so many different things to get this team going. That's great with him. And what they have with Mark Canha, I just think he gives them a lot of flexibility, whether he's playing first base, whether he's playing left field. And I think where the A's envision him next season is really going to help determine what path they go this offseason. You know, if he's at first base, do they look for a corner outfielder? If they want to put him in left field, do they maybe look for help at first base if Ike Davis doesn't come back? So he definitely gives them some flexibility. And we've talked about Marcus Semien so much. I think they've invested a lot of time in him. They brought Ron Washington in to work with him. I think he's shown enough progress that I'd be surprised if he's not the A's shortstop come opening day next year.
Well, it's very hard to predict what the A's will do in the offseason. I mean, they've surprised us in the past.
Really have. You're right.
You know, but I think the three young guys are certainly part of the future. To me, one of the questions that kind of jumps out is not the young guys, but how many of the so-called veteran players will be here? Will Reddick be here? Will Valencia be here? Will Laurie be here? Coco Crisp is probably going to be here. He's under contract, but so I mean, to me, those are more interesting questions. We'll talk more about that when we come back with Joe Stiglitz as we look back and look ahead to the 2016 season and the roster for the A's. And Sonny Gray was great. In fact, he flirted with a no-hitter. He took a no-hitter into the 8th inning and Grua had a base hit. That ruined the no-hitter. But when it was all said and done, the A's won the game 8-0. Sonny Gray almost made history. In fact, the last no-hitter on opening day was the late Bob Feller back in 1940. So the numbers for Sonny Gray, 14-7 with a very fine 2.73 ERA over 200 innings. So there's your anchor. There's your number one starter as we continue our conversation with Joe Stiglitz. But
hey, Cap, I just want to make one note that when Rapid Robert Feller pitched his no-hitter, they didn't count pitches.
Sure, you're right.
And on opening night, I've never seen a manager and pitching coach smile as broadly as Bob Melvin and Kurt Young did. The last thing they wanted the pitch count to get up for a no-hitter. They would have had to send him out just because of that. But they were probably very happy when Rual got the base hit. Anyway,
Bob
glad to
Feller,
have you, Joe.
He may have thrown 200 pitches.
It didn't matter to him.
So Sonny's fine, but what about after Sonny Gray? We talked about this earlier on the pregame show, Ray and I. I mean, you got 7 or 8 guys maybe. So spring training's going to be, who knows? Who pitches well in spring training may get his job in the rotation.
It's going to be very interesting. Let's look at how much work the A's put into building up all that pitching depth, making these trades to get a lot of these young starters. At the beginning of the season, they felt really good about the starting pitching depth they had. And look at all the injuries they had to that starting rotation as the season went on. So I think next year, one key is, can you get these guys back healthy? Does Graveman come back healthy? Does Jesse Hahn come back healthy? And if so, I think you've got a pretty good base to work from with that starting rotation. It's just a matter of how they slot in after that behind Sonny Gray. I wouldn't be surprised if they still look at maybe bringing in a veteran pitcher of some type, just to bring in some experience, just to bring in a little more depth in case these guys aren't 100%. Let's not forget about Jared Parker and A.J. Griffin, too. At some point, the A's hope to get them back healthy, even though they've both missed the past 2 full seasons. You get them back, I think it's a bonus.
Is Jesse Chavez to the bullpen a possibility?
I think the A's ideal pitching staff would have Jesse move into the bullpen, and if that's the case, it means the rotation's in very good shape. I just think he's such a versatile guy who can give you long relief down there. He can give you short relief, and also he's got the attitude. He doesn't mind doing that. I think he really wants to. I think it's genuine when he says this. He wants to do whatever he has to do to help the team. So the fact that he's comfortable doing whatever they need him to do, I think is half the battle. So if they've got the starting depth, I could see Chavez being a great asset in the bullpen.
Let's not forget also that I'm sure he's very well sought after by several clubs. Jesse
Absolutely.
Chavez, I've talked to scouts and they've asked about him and they like his versatility. But I think to your point where he's proven he could start, and he worked hard on that in the offseason to show he could start, but also realizes that he could close, he could set up, he could do so many things in the bullpen. That becomes very valuable to a ball club, especially on a team when you have solid starters. And Joe, I think too, and Kai, we talk about all these starters. Normally in the offseason, you don't think that much about the pitchers. They're going through whatever they go through. But I would think also that maybe it would kind of enhance the position of some of these pitchers by saying, I'm ready to go in spring training. Don't worry about this injury or whatever injury that's kept them out, that they are ready to go because of their workout program in the offseason. So when they show up in spring training, they'd like to say to Kurt Young, Bob Melvin, don't think about my injury. I'm okay. Let's just work on pitching.
And ideally, that would be the case for a lot of these guys. And look at all there should be a great environment of competition among all these young guys come spring. Not only do you have Graveman, Bassett, Jesse Hahn, guys who have already gotten a taste of the majors and showed they can have some success up here, but Aaron Brooks pitched great the other night. Sean Nolan now got healthy. He made himself a part of the picture maybe going into next season. So there's going to be a lot of motivated guys, a lot of open spots, but a lot of guys going for those spots too. I think the A's like it that way too.
Never have enough, never have too much pitching, and this year proved it to be for the Athletics.
No doubt. Just flipped over first, and it's fair. And Trumbo's going to try for 2, and Trumbo's going to make it. Cano to third. He'll stop there. So the Mariners have second and third and 1 out here in the 4th inning.
And for the big man Trumbo to stretch it into 2, he knew he didn't hit it that hard. Sliced the ball from the inside part of the plate to right field, and he was thinking too. Reddick could not prevent him from going for a double, and that's why Reddick threw the ball to the plate, which made it difficult on Chris Bassett. He did not know where to go to back up. He stood on the mound, and fortunately the ball was handled by Brian Anderson.
So here's Seth Smith. And Joe, we mentioned as we were going to break some of the so-called veteran players, although they've not really been around a long time, but like Laurie and Reddick and Valencia. Do you see all those guys coming back? Do you see a trade?
Well, you mentioned Reddick before. Reddick's a guy around the game you hear a lot of buzz about maybe him being on the move at some point, and I can see why that could be a possibility because he's a free agent after next season. He's coming off a really great season, and any team is going to look at him and say, here's a left-handed hitter who's really put it together offensively and still plays really good defense, even though I know the assists haven't been there this year. But he's going to be an attractive guy. Now, the key is, do the A's feel like they could part with him and not have a that big enough blow to the batting order? Who would take his place?
Yeah, you always have to. It's easy to talk about trading somebody, but who takes his place?
You got to have somebody better or just as good to put in there. So when you talk about some of the other veterans, I think they like what they've got from Valencia. I could see him being the everyday third baseman to start next season. I think if he's your cleanup hitter, I don't know if you want to go into next season with him as your cleanup hitter. I think that's something you need to address, and I think that's where Billy Butler really comes into play here too. He's got that big contract. I don't think he's going anywhere, so he's going to be back next year. Do you get more out of Billy Butler, what you thought you would get out of him when you signed him to that 3-year contract? Ideally, I think you'd like him in that cleanup spot and maybe push Valencia down a little bit.
3-0 pitch to Seth Smith, and it's a strike, 3-1.
And I talked to Butler a couple days ago about his season and how things didn't go how he wanted, and I'm curious to see if just coming back next year with a season under his belt on the West Coast, if that really helps him adjust a little bit, because he was pretty honest with me, saying, you know what, it's West Coast Bay Area life because it's not my lifestyle. I'm not used to the traffic. He says, I can't find any real barbecue out here that he's like in Kansas City.
Bring his own. That's
right.
Exactly.
But I think this year is kind of adjustment for him off the field too, and maybe just coming back next year, he feels a little more comfortable with things. The A's need him to be a big presence in the middle of the lineup.
And one thing too that he started working with Darren Bush, and I think when you sign a long-term contract, you've had success in the past, and sometimes you think, I'm on my program to where I believe I can do what I can do, and every hitter always needs help, and the hitting coach is there for a reason. Darren Bush has done a great job with that, to be able to recognize certain things that have not gone well. And I know, talking to Darren, that he started working with Billy Butler, so I think the biggest thing to see his success last couple of months carry over into next season, I think could be very big, and maybe a learning experience for Billy Butler in trying times for the ball club in general. But it's a game of adjustments, and with so much scouting information on everybody, shifts and all those other things. And I think Billy, every ball he seems to have hit would be hit at somebody, and those are going to start dropping. And I think we've seen that last couple of months.
0-1 to Logan Morrison with the bases loaded and 1 out. So Bassett in a big jam. Hit Morrison.
The A's are playing for a double play with a fly ball hitter, and just hope the fly ball, if Morrison hits one, it's not too deep. Breaking ball almost hit the back foot. Brian Anderson with a backhanded grab, which is about all he could do. Joe, how's your offseason for you as an insider, as far as your workload and trying to keep everybody up on what's going on? What are your plans in that regard?
I tell you what, Ray, it's very interesting covering this team in the offseason. As we know, they always keep us guessing. They always keep us busy. People always ask me, how do you stay busy in the offseason? What do you do? I said, believe it or not, there's enough baseball, A's offseason news to keep you busy. So you're just monitoring that, and before you know it, the winter meetings come here in early December. That's kind of the middle point of the offseason, but you're kind of getting ready for that, wondering what moves could be made there. We saw the A's make a couple of moves at the winter meetings last season. And then once those are gone, you're already kind of thinking about spring training, what this team looks like. So work-wise, the A's keep me very busy, no doubt.
That one's hit deep to right. Reddick going back. Reddick at the wall, and he's got it right in front of the 380-foot sign. Cano will come in to score. So the Mariners are on the board with Chris Bassett. A big sigh of relief. Off the crack of the bat. That one had a good sound to it.
And I bet someplace in this park right now, Jerry DiPoto is saying that fence has moved in next year.
Right.
From 380 probably to 375, 376. Because Morrison thought he hit enough. That's a grand slam. I'd be honest, I thought he did too.
Off the bat, I thought it was too.
But look where it goes. That's 380. That's Yankee Stadium, left center, maybe to right center a little bit, but not at Safeco Field. And I would think DiPoto made the statement, we need to have a better record at home. That's one way to do it right there, to move the fences in from that area. I mean, even from 376 left center, I mean, you've got predominantly left-handed hitters in Cano and Morrison, just Seth Smith. I mean, these guys, that's a devastating blow to a hitter to hit a ball that well and get a sac fly.
That's why they call it a pitcher's park, right?
Definitely
we just saw it right there.
That's exactly right. So, Jerry, we don't know your plans in the offseason, but that's probably one of them. Get approval from Major League Baseball, I guess, the association, to do it. But, Joe, you know, to your point about and how long has it been from your standpoint of kind of year-round baseball? All professional sports seem to make sure they pass out the awards in off seasons, and to where it's always a busy time for you.
Baseball's made a big effort in that the past few years. The way you're right, the way they've structured the awards, and they really made it tried to make it a made-for-TV kind of event with a lot of anticipation and build-up and everything. And I think social media, you know, it's been around for obviously 4 or 5 years now, heavily in baseball. But the fact that everybody's on Twitter, reporters, you're reporting. It's a 24-hour news cycle, so stuff is just, you know, it's nonstop and it's ongoing, even through the off season.
Trade rumors, that's probably one of the best sites, because they give all kinds of, I mean, that's
the one-stop shopping right there for all your baseball rumors.
Exactly.
Believe me, that's the truth for fans and for beat writers, no doubt.
But I mean, it's amazing how much information is there, and I just, especially in the offseason, you kind of go to that and figure out, or at least try to figure out what people are talking about. But it's the point that people think of, again, like yourself, or in the off season for front offices. I mean, it's constant. I mean, it's a multi-hour day job just to keep abreast of what's going on.
And the other part of that, if you're a player, I think a big key in being a successful player these days is knowing when to turn off social media and not pay attention to it, you know?
Joe, thanks for joining us. Good luck this offseason. You'll be busy. You never know what the Oakland A's are going to do.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me.
A lot of TV time, too, in the pre-game show on the post, man. You got to get some Glenn Kuiper attire.
Let's work on that. Can we work on that?
Yeah, both of us.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Post-game show. It's airing right now on Comcast Sportsnet Plus. It's Raiders Post-Game Live. You can find it on Comcast Channel 104 and Channel 780, DirecTV Channel 698-1, and AT&T Channel 768. If you can't find Comcast Sportsnet Plus, log on to csncalifornia.com or call your local cable provider. Heartbreaker for the Raiders today in Chicago. Busy day in the world of sports. Angels still leading the Rangers 2-1. That game going to the 5th inning. The Angels hanging on. That's a base hit up the middle for Jake Smolinski. Hit number 5 for the Athletics. Astros and the Diamondbacks tied 1-1. Bottom of the 4th.
Well, backdoor slider, and Jake Smolinski very well aware of the slider thrown by Nuno, and got a 14-pitch at bat. His last one did Jake Smolinski before flying out to center field. This time he gets a base hit on the 3rd pitch.
Cano backs up, and Cano grabs it. So Gentry is retired. 1 out here in the top of the 5th inning.
Orson saying, man, I crushed that ball. Oh, man. You
thought
think
he had a force.
You think about the Coliseum, and guys will crush a ball, and they think, well, that's gone. And then all of a sudden they're heading back to the dugout with a fly ball deep. Fences can be moved by home teams. I mean, they can, but it has to be an approval process. You just can't arbitrarily go out and say, I'm going to move a fence.
So you got to check with the union as well?
Well, you got players, and at least Major League Baseball has to approve it. I don't know if that's something that the players have to approve, but it's usually a working relationship between the two. And with next year, the expiration of the collective bargaining agreement after the 2016 season, and let's hope they are talking a lot leading up to the end of the 2016, so there'll be no interruptions, which has been a long, long time since there was one. 20 years.
Swing and a miss by Anderson. Well, it's like, well, it's not like, but as far as the process you have, I mean, if you want to change your uniforms, you have to alert MLB a year ahead of time. I mean, it's a major process.
Absolutely.
May not seem like a big deal, but it is.
Now, Steve Bucinich was telling me along those lines that, let's say when Derek Jeter was playing, and he number 2, a very popular jersey, that if he changed the number, that there was a responsibility on somebody that all those jerseys printed with number 2, somebody had to pay for it.
Sure.
So I mean, Derek Jeter would never change his number. Most guys won't. But I mean, there are a lot of restrictions when it comes to the MLB and especially uniforms. A lot of times you'll see the alternate jerseys that they would like for the clubs to have because it means they're going to sell more to the fans.
And if you decide that we're going to have an alternate jersey, I mean, it's a process that takes quite a while.
Major process. You're right. And that's why the A's, remember, one time had the black alternate.
Yeah.
Of course, they have the gold now. They use the green. So it's very uniform tops, but they try to keep standard gray pants and white pants.
Strike 3 called, and I think Anderson knew it. So that's the 2nd out here in the 5th inning. Strikeout number 4 for Nuno.
Almost like Pat Venditti pitching great last night, 9 up, 9 down for the 3 innings. When he throws a fastball, you're shocked.
Yep.
And with Nuno, with so many sliders, it's a fastball perfectly thrown outside corner. And Anderson probably thinking slider again, didn't get it. Fastball, strike 3.
And here's Simeon hitting in the leadoff spot today. Single and a fly ball to right field. Nuno has not walked anybody.
Good job of lifting the front leg, kind of freezing the runner Smolinski at first base when he does right there go either direction, and of course it's going to be a slider. You have a strike.
There's the breakdown of pitches by inning. 3rd inning got him a little bit, 29.
You like those uniforms, guy?
I kind of do. I know some teams have that off-white color. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
They're walking down the hallway before coming in the broadcast area. You see Mark Langston wearing the uniform, Harold Reynolds, Gaylord Perry. Those are the uniforms back in '77 was the first year for the Mariners.
Shallow left. Seth Smith comes in. He's got it side retired. So leadoff single by Smolinski, but the A's do nothing with it. Bottom of the 5th coming up, 2-1 Athletics lead. Choice, Ray. Let's have a little fun. Our picks for MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, and Manager of the Year. And this is in the American League. I'm going to go Donaldson, Keuchel, Correa, and Hinch. You're going to go Donaldson, Keuchel, Correa, and Paul Molitor. Can't lose either way. So you like Donaldson a little more than Trout this year?
I like what he's done. Yeah. He's done it all. I mean, both sides of the baseball. But I'll give my reason for Paul Molitor. I know A.J. Hinch and the job that he has done with the Houston Astros, and nothing to take away from him. But for Paul Molitor, his first year managing, of course, A.J. Hinch has managed before, and again, that's nothing against him. But I think you learn something as a second-time manager. In the case of Hinch managing the Astros, and he admitted that this is a much different time for him. The thing I liked about Paul Molitor at the beginning of the season, I remember when we were in the Twin Cities, and the teammates are able to have a conversation. I said, what's been the biggest difference for you? And he said, having a meeting when I didn't expect to have one. He had one about the 8th game of the season, and the club was in a downspan, and it's like he had that meeting, probably apologizing to them, saying, I don't want to have this meeting, but we need to have it. You guys are better players than this, and look at the season they've had.
Yeah.
And just that one meeting. And I strongly believe that if you're a player and you know anything of the history of the game and you know the way Paul Molitor played the game, how could you not run hard to first? How could you not run hard all the way and play the game the right way? And I just think the accomplishments he had as a first-year manager, again, maybe not exceeded what A.J. Hinch did, but I think in his first year did a remarkable job.
I think that's a good call. That's a real good call. Keuchel, and of course Keuchel and Price, really the two finals there. And you know what? That to me was the one I thought about the most, because it's very close. I mean, all their numbers are very close. Keuchel, 20 wins, but the ERA was close, innings pitched, strikeouts. So you really couldn't go wrong either. But I just thought Keuchel. And
you know what I liked about Keuchel is the fact that David Price can blow you away with a fastball.
Yeah.
Keuchel has to rely, talking about a crafty left-hander. He has to rely on changing speeds, hitting the corners, staying away from the middle part of the plate. And, for what he has done for that team, and you look at the total wins, you could also maybe throw in MVP, for Dallas Keuchel, in addition to his Cy Young Award. I don't think you could take away from what Josh Donaldson's done, but Keuchel has had a great season for a team that came out of nowhere.
National League, and look at that.
Hey.
See, you know what, Ray? We couldn't disagree even if we tried. Harper, tough to argue with what he did. Arrieta, you could have went with Greinke or Kershaw there. Chris Bryant was a very clear choice for the Rookie of the Year, and Joe Madden. I just like what he did in Chicago. They're a very, very talented team, but they're very young as well, and sometimes the young team needs the manager the most.
And I think the one point about Chris Bryant, the rookie season, he set an all-time record for the Cubs home run record as a rookie, passing the great Billy Williams, the Hall of Famer. But you could almost attach Chris Bryant and Joe Madden together. The success of Bryant, a result of Joe Madden being his manager for the first year. And what Madden has done for that team in Chicago is just off the charts. And we saw him in Tampa Bay and some of the things he did. Bringing disc jockeys in. He had a zoo day in center field at Wrigley Field.
Sure.
People going, bringing back the old saying about the donkey or mule or something.
Curse.
Yeah, the curse, the mule. But I mean, he's just done a great job. And for Chris Bryant, we saw him in Las Vegas. Yes, thank you, Delaire the GOAT, curse the GOAT. But we saw Chris Bryant in Las Vegas. He's local, and when the Cubs were playing the A's and the Vegas trip. He hit a couple of home runs there, and everybody's up and on. How can he not make the ball club? Well, they couldn't play a position initially. And then all of a sudden he comes up and just played him in the outfield, played him in third. And Joe Madden got him to believe that he could play anywhere he put it, and he did.
So who are we picking to win the World Series? This could be interesting. I went with Pittsburgh over the Blue Jays. You went with the Blue Jays over the Cardinals, so we agreed on the Blue Jays getting to the World Series.
You see, what you're doing, you're saying that a National League team is not going to worry about home field advantage.
Yeah,
I think that could be huge if the Blue Jays get there. That extra game could make a huge difference because of the way they've sold out every game, and we've seen Rogers Center packed completely, but I don't know. I just think it's.
Marte runs and no throw. He doesn't even have to slide. It's a stolen base.
I think just what the Blue Jays have done, and really the Rangers have done it, the Pirates, teams that have come out of nowhere and just taken over their divisions.
I think the Pirates feel like they've been in the wild card game 2 years in a row. This will be 3 years in a row. And I think they feel like it's time to get past that.
Yeah, it's a great point. The only problem there, and we both know who's going to be hot on that one play-in game, the wild card. You got to get the 5-game division series. The Blue Jays are there. They know they're going to play a 5-game series against somebody. And boy, that one game, as the A's found out last year, it is a tough one just to win to begin the series after that.
It's such the game itself, and I'm convinced now that it's tough to win. I mean, it's one game. Anything can go wrong. A's found that out. But if you win that one game, you are rolling.
Absolutely.
Because you already have momentum and probably a little relaxation going into that series, that division series. Yeah, I think it happened to the Royals last year. I think it happened to the Giants, where if you can just win that tough wild card game, I'm not saying it gets easier. I'm just saying you start feeling pretty good about yourself.
Well, and you're having to play meaningful games all the way through. I mean, there's not one game that you can say, okay, we don't have to think about it. And that's what the Royals have to deal with this year, being the division winners and really just running away with the Central. And now they have to think about, unlike last year, where they had to beat the A's just to continue and get the Division League Championship, which they did quite well. But it's always interesting, and that man has been guiding the A's the last 3 years in postseason. This year it will not happen, but he'll be looking forward to 2016 and trying to get back to October baseball.
Interesting development in Arlington as we talk about the postseason. Adrian Beltre just hit a 2-run homer race. So after 5 innings, the Rangers now lead the Angels 3-2.
Not surprising, Adrian Beltre.
Seager shoots one down the left field line, but foul. And the Diamondbacks have taken a 2-1 lead over the Astros, top of the 5th.
So with those scores in mind, kind of break it down again. What happens if and all that?
Yeah, well, if the Rangers win, they win the division.
Right.
And then it really just.
And then the Angels lose.
If the Rangers win, the Angels would obviously lose because they're playing against each other. And if the Angels lose and the Astros lose, the Astros would still win the wild card.
Right. So the Angels have to win, the Astros have to lose.
And the Angels have no other route except to win.
Right. Well, if the Angels don't make it, and we know the Mariners aren't, that's a tough blow to two teams that were expected to have a lot of success in this Western Division, and the Astros were not. Of course, the Rangers coming off a lot of injuries last year. The A's were hopeful.
We'll have a quick meeting on the mound. So that's what it looks like. The West, Rangers with the 1-game lead. The wild card, Astros with the 1-game lead over the Angels, and all those games right around the 5th inning, which is exactly the way we had hoped it would be. So 3-2 to Seager with Marte at second base. He has the tying run. And a pitch that floats well outside. So a couple of walks here in the 5th inning.
Well, that was the pitch, evidently, that Brassett wanted Brian Anderson to go to, and they ended up talking about it. And you get to the point that you almost just yell out and say, throw whatever you want. You know, or I don't care if there's a runner at second. I'm just going to go through the signs one at a time, and you tell me what you want to throw. Because there's obviously some miscommunication and indecision on the parts of the man or the pitcher and the catcher in this game.
You sound like a man who may have done that a couple times.
Yes.
Or at least wanted to.
Yeah.
Drive, right center. Gentry on the move, and Gentry caught it. Marte tags. He'll slide headfirst into third. With a nice play by Gentry. It almost looked like that ball had some sinking life to it, and he had to reach down and caught it right around the ankles.
Yeah, I think off the bat it looked like it's going to be more of a direct hit. But as it turned out, you're right, Kev. It had the sinking action. He sliced it towards right center field, and a great job by Gentry to go after it and then reach down and take a ball that was sinking fast. And the key there is to hit the cutoff man, which he did. Threw it back in towards third. Marte was going to make it, but you don't want the runner at first to be able to get into second base. So nice play by Gentry, tracking it down in center.
So now 2 outs, and Bassett will try to get Cano. He's at the corners. Off speed pitch. Cano swings and misses. Cano singled and scored in the 4th.
Kept his hit streak alive with that single. He'll go into the offseason with a hitting streak. Think about Joe DiMaggio all winter.
Grounds that one. Laurie slides to his right, throws to first, and Bassett gets out of the jam. A couple of runners stranded, and we are headed to the 6th inning. A's with a 2-1 lead. Comcast Sports at California is brought to you by Evergood Sausage Company. Get grilling. See, the roof is open. It's not over the stadium. It's over the railroad tracks is what it is. On a beautiful day here in Seattle. A's trying to finish their season with a sweep, leading the Mariners 2-1, top of the 6th inning. Mark Canha will lead things off. So you think Mark's gonna get the end of the season call from Major League Baseball?
I think the biggest question is how many times have they called it?
It's all right though, he can hit.
Yes, he can. He probed it in the 3rd. 3-2. Slider. Crushed. Tell you, the thing you like about his swing is how he gets out on the front foot, and you think he's going to get fooled, but the bat is back and he can hammer it. And you look at Mark Canha after one season, what he's accomplished, and going forward, running hard all the way to the end.
So among American League rookies, Mark Canha first in RBIs, tied for second in doubles, third in runs, third in home runs, fourth in hits, so all across the board. And really, I mean, as far as playing every single day, really in the first half he was not playing every single day.
Exactly.
So he's been impressive. Joe Stiglitz, when he was on, talked about Canha's versatility and the fact that he can play in the outfield. He's playing mostly first base now. Seager, long throw when he gets Lori, 2 outs.
I think that's what everybody was thinking about, and I know Bob Melvin talked about the versatility of Mark Canha, and you know, to be determined this winter. Do they get somebody to play the outfield, leave him at first base, put him in the outfield, get a first baseman? There's a lot of things that can be done, and the skipper and Billy Beane will get together, and David Forst, and try to figure out what they're going to be doing leading into 2016. But they've got some pretty good parts already in place.
Valencia, shallow center, and it drops for a hit. A 2-out single for Danny Valencia. That's his first hit today, and for the A's, it's their 6th hit.
Now, first pitch hitting from, got a fastball. That's strange. As Nino said, enough of that. Go back to the slider. He's on short leash anyway because the number of pitches approaching 100, and even on the final day, they're probably not going to extend pitchers too much.
First pitch to Butler is just a touch outside. Butler is grounded out to third and grounded out to second. He's 2 for 11 in this series. He's sitting in a hitter's count at 2-0. Astros have tied the Diamondbacks in the top of the 5th inning, 2-2, and they're still batting. And a late call and a high slider, 2-1. Defense pretty straight away for Butler. Now it's 2-2.
He's looking for number 16 there. That's swing.
Valencia, short lead at first. Inside, and now a full count. Nuno reminds me a little bit of his pitching style of Jason Vargas.
That's a great call.
Kind of built the same. Sliders, changeups. Missed outside, and Butler has the walk. So a little 2-out rally for the A's. It's the first walk issued by Nuno.
Maybe Lloyd McClendon said, I'm not going to walk out in between innings to take a guy out. Let him finish the inning, and if I take him out, send somebody else out there. And what's a pitch count mean on the final day of the season anyway, when you got 5 months to rest?
Shouldn't mean anything.
Should not mean a thing. Nuno has not pitched enough to really be concerned about the number of pitch count.
He's thrown 74 innings this year. Oh, 1 and Reddick pops a foul back. So 0-2 the count. Reddick has hit a fly ball to center field, and he has struck out. Trying to get Valencia home from second, give the A's little insurance run. Broken bat. Roll to Cano, who has it. Side retired. So a hit and a walk and 2 stranded for the Athletics. Bottom of the 6th coming up. Still 2-1. A's lead.
Anderson took the count to 3-2. Sac fly to right field. Almost did it out. They would score Craig Gentry with a triple to lead off that inning. Mark Canha then on a 3-2 slider. Left center field. This ball, I think Morrison thought grand slam. Caught though at the 380 mark in right center. 2-1. Athletics leading. And that's where we are in the bottom of the 6th inning. 6 hits for the Athletics, 4 for the Mariners. 1 error for the Athletics. Find out what's possible with AT&T. Call 1-800-PICK-ATT, mobilizing your world.
So Chris Bassett, 75 pitches through 5 innings. And nursing a 2-1 lead. First pitch to Trumbo is down and away. Trumbo, Smith, and Morrison here in the 6th. Trumbo has grounded out and he has doubled. Foul straight back. Got a pitch to hit there. Rangers still leading the Angels 3-2. Now in the top of the 7th inning. Jeff Bannister's looking at that list of relievers he's got, who he can use.
Let's see. It's also used in 5 days in a row. I don't know about him.
Dyson, yeah, 5 days in a row. Rangers win that game and they win the American League's Western Division.
Well, they're trying to do something they could not accomplish in 2012, win on the final day of the season and win the division.
And Trumbo waves at a pitch in the dirt. That's the 2nd strikeout for Bassett.
On a good curveball and a good block also by Brian Anderson. So he did the job after the good curve down. That's exactly where you want a big, powerful swinger hitter to try to swing at a pitch that was down.
So 1 out, and here's Seth Smith. First pitch is a breaking ball, a little bit inside. Seth Smith today, a fly ball and a walk. You know, Ray, if the Rangers were to win that game, then that's pretty much it. Rangers win the division. Astros win the wild card.
That's a good
the
point.
second wild card.
Regardless what happens with the Astros.
Yeah, the Astros could lose, but they would still be the wild card if the Rangers beat the Angels. Inside. So 3-0 to Smith. Morrison to follow here in the 6th. And it's a 4-pitch walk. That is walk number 5 for Bassett.
Just looking at the Rangers and Angels in the 7th inning, the Diamondbacks and Astros the 5th. So,
yeah, well, there you go.
Not often you could possibly lose a game and celebrate, but the Astros could, based on what you just said, and it is correct.
The Angels 3 more at bats in that game.
After their at bat in the 9th inning, many at bats to come back and score 5.
Yeah, that's
5 right down to the end.
They're fine. Strike to Morrison. Morrison had that sacrifice fly in the 4th inning. Picking up his 54th RBI of the year. Although, as we showed you on the highlight, he was thinking grand slam. Under the glove of Canna and into right field. And the Mariners are going to have 1st and 3rd with 1 out. So, trouble again for Bassett. Sucre will be the hitter. Canna made a good effort.
Holding the runner, and that's the biggest key. Hanging breaking ball, and Morrison, when the A's were looking for the ground ball in his last at bat when he almost hit one out, this got under the glove of Mark Canna, and that was a good effort. I thought he'd come up with it. He was diving out of the shadows into the sunlight.
Yeah, that shadow isn't moving quite as quickly as I thought it would. Fernando Rodriguez starts to throw. Bassett now at 85 pitches. So a walk and a single. And that has the Mariners in business here in the 6th. Nice block by Anderson. That pitch bounced way out in front of home plate.
Well, one thing Brian Anderson has shown, he can do this, and this is runners at 1st and 3rd, and his technique is outstanding. And that part of the game has been outstanding. A sac fly and a slider that was a hanger from Nuno. Nuno is finished for the afternoon, as there is bullpen activity for both teams. We talked about the athletics of Fernando. The Mariners also have somebody ready to come in probably for the 7th. Sucre could really help out by hitting a ground ball and turning a double play. Does not run fast, and hit it close to one of the infielders. As they put on a squeeze, hit and run.
Morrison had quite a ways off first base, so he had to hustle back 2-1 the count now to Sucre. So 5 hits now for the Mariners, 6 hits for the A's. There's been 1 error in the game. Committed by the Athletics in the very first inning. So Bassett about to throw pitch number 90, looking for a ground ball. That one slowly hit under Canna's glove. Laurie has it. Flips to Bassett, and he gets the runner at first, but Seth Smith comes in to score. And it's a 2-2 game. Sucre jammed, so Bassett makes a pretty good pitch, but he just rolled it to the right side. So 4-1 on the putout and gives Sucre an RBI.
Well, he definitely jammed him, and that is what you want, the ground ball, but not the way it was hit. Hit hard enough, could have turned two. Sucre not that speedy, and once it got under Canna's glove, that could have been a 3-6 and maybe back to 1, but instead it had to be a 4-1 put out, and a 1-out walk to Smith on 4 pitches after a strikeout to Trumbull and a great curveball. That's the difference right now.
So now Miller is the hitter. Miller has grounded out twice. And he has a chance to give the Mariners the lead here in the 6th. Slices it foul. Miller's had a good series. He had 3 hits on Friday night, a couple hits last night. Nothing today so far.
I think the amazing thing, and the number of hits to left field, and Valencia way off the bag at third. Simeon playing close to second, and the shortstop hole is open. So if off-speed pitches, maybe get out and pull.
Fastball is high. So Bassett ahead in the count 1-2. Morrison, the runner at second. And that one bounced up the first base line, but foul. Crowd today 22,402.
Prince Bassett just got Brian Anderson out, told him what he wanted to throw. So much for the runner at second going through multiple signs. He'll go right to it now, and usually he has gone to his curveball, which has been a pretty good pitch for him. That's called no sign. Infielders have no idea, but that's okay.
Misses badly upstairs with the 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
And see that right there, when the catcher went back, gave no sign, takes away. People say, well, you can't have a pitcher add and subtract because the infielders need to know what's being thrown. That time they did. So they really couldn't move based on the pitch that was thrown.
And a high fastball, and Bassett gets the strikeout. So his 3rd strikeout, but a run for the Mariners. So we are on to the 7th. It's a 2-2 game.
now, as home dates for games at Hohokam Park have been announced. Enjoy a first-class experience. Get an early glimpse of next year's squad at the A's all-new spring training venue in Mesa, Arizona. For more information, visit athletics.com/spring today, and we encourage you to take advantage of the fantasy camp in January and just stick around for spring training in March and spend 3 months in the Valley of the Sun and enjoy a fantasy camp and then spring training in Mesa, when it is a beautiful complex. Nice big scoreboard. Players will be back there sometime mid-February, getting ready for another season. Right now, closing out the 2015, and we'll be facing a new pitcher in the 7th inning.
Well, Guaipe, when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up. Your oil change, tune-up, and repair expert. So Guaipe comes in. He will face Smolinski, Gentry, and Anderson here in the 7th inning. It's now a 2-2 game. First pitch up and in. Smolinski had a single in the 5th. Bottom of the 7th in Arlington. Rangers 3, Angels 2. So the Angels get 2 more at bats. And did that hit Smolinski? I believe it did. Smolinski with a tough way to get on base, but it is a leadoff base runner here in the 7th.
Well, we saw him throw a lot of breaking pitches last night, though. That was a fastball running inside. Turned right into it, kind of the right pectoral muscle. Like that.
That was good. So here's Sam Fold. He's going to hit for Gentry. First pitch to Fold, up and away. Seager 3 steps in on the grass. Nuno, 6 pretty good innings this afternoon. No decision. Our main pitches thrown in 6 innings. Fidel Nuno. Folt drives one toward left center field. It's hit pretty well. Smith is going to hustle back there, though, and he makes the catch. So Seth Smith tracks it down. 1 out here in the 7th inning. I thought Seth Smith, when we saw him with the A's, I thought he was a better outfielder than he had credit for.
I agree.
He's a pretty good outfielder.
Good jumps on the baseballs and accurate throw in his arm.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't have the greatest speed, but he made the plays he needed to make and covered pretty good ground. First pitch to Brian Anderson. He lays off that curve, and it's a ball. Anderson with a sacrifice fly in the 3rd and a strikeout in the 5th. Hitting in the 9th spot, so Simeon will be next.
I remember when Seth Smith was in Colorado before the A's acquired him. And because of Carlos Gonzalez, they had moved him from, I think, right to left. And, of course, he'd been going back and forth. Cargo was playing center, but when they moved him to right, Seth, I think, went to left field. So he was able to play the outfield positions regardless.
Well, that's Rollins, the left-hander. Now Rick Waits is going to come out. The count is 3-0 to Anderson. Guaipe hit the first batter. Waits has made that trip a lot this year. Mariners with the 12th in the league in team ERA this year. Last year they were first. So Anderson steps back in. White misses badly, and it's a walk. So the A's have a chance to take the lead. A hit batter and a walk.
Well, the same pitch he just threw outside of Brian Anderson, the same one he hit Smolinski, and that was the fastball inside outside of the lefty.
Logan Kensing starts to throw. Simeon a single, a fly ball to right, and a fly ball to left, and we'll have another meeting at the mound. See where Clayton Kershaw started today, Ray. And he needed 6 strikeouts to get to 300.
You get it?
I think he got it. 3 2/3 innings, 7 strikeouts. He was going to get that.
So 10 outs, 7 strikeouts.
So Guaipe has an outing that he's going to have to live with the entire offseason. So Kensing coming in. He's with a chance to take the lead here in the 7th.
Is presented by authority of the Oakland Athletics and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Athletics Investment Group, LLC.
Well, we got in-depth sports news for the Bay Area fan. Know it all with Sportsnet Central. It's this evening and a couple of shows, 6 and 10:30. And it's on our sister station, Comcast Sportsnet Bay Area. All the Pennant Chase highlights from the Raiders Bears, and highlights from the 49ers Packers. Kelly Johnson and Henry Wolf will host. So Safeco Field for the season finale for the A's, and they'd like to finish with a 4-game winning streak, which they're trying to accomplish today. 2 on, 1 out here in the 7th. Logan Kensing comes in. And he's going to face Marcus Simeon. So Kensing on the year 1-1 with a 6.59 ERA in 18 appearances. Smolinski's at second, Anderson at first. Simeon 1 for 3. And the first pitch is a slider just a little bit outside. Missed again, 2-0. So back-to-back sliders. I mean, got a good look at them both and laid off.
Yeah, we might be looking at an Aaron Brooks Friday night situation. Looks like maybe Chris Bassett is finished and bullpen activity. So if the A's can score in this inning, as they did for Aaron Brooks in the 8th inning on Friday night, got him a victory with 2 runs.
Another breaking ball. This one a strike, 2-1.
Just push the button. I think you're going to say that a few times.
You know, I think you're right.
Kinsey likes his slider. That's 3 in a row. I think Sucre likes sliders also.
And that one's grounded to Seager. Scoops, throws to second for 1, to first, double play. So the A's with an opportunity, but they cannot capitalize. 7th inning stretch coming up from Safeco. It's a 2-2 game. NCAA Data Strong fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. It's all brought to you by T-Mobile. And that photo's from Shannon, and that is Adrian and Cameron rooting for the A's. And you know who those 2 little guys are? Those are the 2 sons of our fine producer, Delaire Lewars. And those are some good-looking kids right there.
Wow.
And
final game of the season.
Those are great-looking kids, man.
Yeah. I met them in Arizona.
Yeah. So they're rooting for the A's. They're rooting for the A's right now. That picture was just taken like 10 minutes ago. So we're glad they're watching. So it's a 2-2 game, bottom of the 7th inning. And when it's time for change, think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and repair expert. So Fernando Rodriguez comes in relief of Chris Bassett. Pitched well today. So Fernando Rodriguez will try to end on a high note.
Now, last night he pitched 1 inning, struck out 3. Sam Fowles stays in the game in center field.
So Fold in center as he pinch hit for Gentry. It'll be the top of the order for the Mariners. So So 96 pitches for Chris Bassitt today. 2 runs, both earned, 5 walks, and 3 strikeouts.
Unfortunately for him, only 1 of the walks scored, but that happened to be his last inning of work, a 1-out walk to Seth Smith. But that's one of the things that Chris Bassitt, you look at his number of pitches and you reduce the number of walks, you can also reduce the number of pitches, and he could have stayed in the game maybe an extra inning.
Marte tried to slap it past Valencia. Marte is 1 for 2. He has singled and he has walked. Pitch is up. The Rangers have added a run in the bottom of the 7th. They lead 4-2 now over the Angels, but they have the bases loaded. Rangers trying to have a big inning. Rodriguez has it, underhands to first, 1 out. No, the leadoff man is out. That's always a good thing. Diamondbacks still leading the Astros. It's 3-2, bottom of the 6th inning. So it is possible that the Rangers game could end before the Astros game. First pitch to Seager's outside. Ray, the Yankees are losing again, 7-1.
Does that mean Houston?
Well, I mean, that means if Houston and the Yankees are tied, and they're both going to be a wild card team. If it continues the way it continues, I think Houston would host the game.
I think you're right. And if that's the case, what a difference that would make for a team that typically doesn't play as well on the road, and in a partisan Yankee crowd, New York, roll call, all those good things happening.
And the Yankees, I mean, they just had to win a game this weekend. They lost that doubleheader, and they're losing again today. Still some time in that game. It's 7-2 Orioles now over the Yankees in the 6th inning. What?
Where's the question mark on his? I guess that number 2 is a question mark.
That's pretty funny.
Who's on first? Watts on second. That's right. Watt 2. Watts on second.
3-1 now to Seager.
Yeah, Captain Leonard just brings up a good point that if the Astros do have home field advantage, that means Dallas Keuchel pitches at home, and he's unbeatable there. And you get the Minute Maid crowd, Houston, in the playoffs for the first time since '05.
So that is slowly becoming closer to a possibility. Strike. Seager thought maybe it was a ball. The Pirates are leading 3-0 over Cincinnati in the 7th inning. And Pittsburgh trying to secure the home wild card game against the Cubs. So they have to win. Seager hits a high pop up left center, and it's going to be Full who grabs it. So 2 away here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and Gutierrez will hit. So still a lot going on in baseball today. First pitch to Gutierrez is in the dirt, backhanded by the catcher Anderson. Dull and Doolittle did not throw yesterday.
You ready?
So, yeah, could be ready. Valencia scoops it up right at him. And across the diamond, Rodriguez with a 3-up, 3-down inning. And we are on to the 8th. It's a 2-2 game here at Safeco.
140,000 acres and destroyed more than 800 homes. Help provide relief to victims who suffered significant losses by donating through the AIDS Community Fund at athletics.com/fire. This is the most important part. Every dollar collected will be donated to disaster relief funds. Donate now at athletics.com/fire. And we hope you do. But important to note that every dollar donated will be given to those victims.
A's and Mariners tied 2-2. It's the top of the 8th inning. It'll be Canna, Laurie, and Valencia. Kensing stays out there. He came in and got that 5-4-3 double play ball off Simeon.
Well, last night's game went 13 innings. I don't know that the teams would want to play that many today, but they'll both play as many as necessary to try to win the game. The season finale.
Canna's had another good ball game, a single, a homer, and a ground out. And Ray, in Arlington, the Rangers are busting it open. They've scored 6 times in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's now Texas 9 and the Angels 2.
Wow. 9 unanswered, as they call it, since Pujols hit the 2-run home run early.
Right. So that is in the bottom of the 7th inning. Rangers win, and that certainly clears up a lot of things.
Yeah.
Rangers win, and the Astros, then whatever happens with them in Arizona, the Astros would be the second wild card team.
And if that's the case, that's a major accomplishment for a team that came out of nowhere. And nobody thought in April that they would sustain what they have done all season. And that would be remarkable if they do.
1-2 the count to Canna. Laurie to follow, and then Valencia as Dahl starts to throw. Kensing likes the slider, and there it was. Nuno, Guaipe, and Kensing pitchers used so far. Each team used 8 pitchers in last night's game. And that one right on the outside corner, and Kensing strikes out Canna looking. So 1 out here in the 8th.
Sneaky fastball and backdoor with a fastball, a 2-seamer. A bit of a strange setup by Kensing, where he looks like he's going to take a little bit extra time, but quickly releases the ball and maybe fools the hitters a little bit. Shadow between the pitcher and the hitter. So he comes up, he thinks, it looks like he's going to continue to settle a little bit, and lets it go from up on top.
Miller got a good jump, and he's there, and Laurie hit it hard, but he's retired, so Laurie 0 for 4. 2 away here in the top of the 8th, and Valencia will. Actually, it's going to be Muncy, excuse me. So Muncy will hit for Valencia. Muncy, the left-handed swinger. .208 his average. Muncy 21 hits in 101 at bats this year with 8 doubles, a home, or 8 doubles, a triple, and 3 home runs, including this home run on Anaheim Tuesday night.
Left center field, and he was a little bit shocked to see the shift on him as he went opposite field, which we have seen him do quite often.
This one to center field, but not deep enough. Miller's there, so that's a 3-up, 3-down inning. Bottom of the 8th coming up from Safeco. A's 2, Mariners 2. Summey brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. 2-6-1 for the A's, 2-5-0 for the Mariners. Bassett goes 6 innings. He was pretty good. Mark Canha with his 16th home run. Nadal Nuno also went 6 innings, 108 pitches. So we are headed to the bottom of the 8th, all tied 2-2. Here in the final game of the regular season when it's time for change. Think Speedy Oil Change and Tune-Up, your oil change, tune-up, and repair experts, as Ryan Dull comes in. So we've enjoyed watching Ryan Dull come up in September, and he's pitched well enough to certainly be in the conversation for next year's bullpen. Max Muncy, after pinch hitting, he will stay in and play third base.
And Muncy's been working out, taking ground balls and working hard at second base. And Max will also be heading to the Mexican League this offseason, playing down in Mexico.
He said he's going to play some second base, yeah. Right?
Well, and the thing about playing in that league, you learn how to hit breaking pitches because that's all you see, which is good. A lot of hitters will go there for that reason. The 4 major, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, and Mexico, the 4 winter leagues.
And all pretty good, huh?
Yeah, they are. They get a chance to play about 60 games in winter baseball.
So it'll be Cano, Trumbo, and Smith here in the 8th inning. Robinson Cano today is 1 for 3. A couple of ground outs and a single. He scored the first run for the Mariners, and now it's 2-0. Cano with 21 home runs and 79 runs batted in. And he got a fastball right out over the plate. So the count 2-1.
Okay, talking to Sean Doolittle about Ryan Dull, and he said that he talked to his brother, where Sean's brother's pitching at AA, and he said he'd talked to him. He'd say it's Tom Wilhelmsen, no thing, but he said he'd asked me, tell me about this Dull kid. He said all he does is come in and throw strikes and gets outs. You know, kind of 0.47 ERA, and that's what Bob Melvin was seeing during the season, as Dull was blowing away the hitters at the minor league level.
2-1 to Cano, hit high in the air to center. Plenty of room for Sam Fuld as he waits, 1 away.
Right, he didn't pull that one. And that's a little bit extra on the fastball from Ryan Dull, that he was able to challenge one of the better American League hitters, and Robinson Cano not able to pull the ball that straightaway center field, and this is a big yard. He knows it. He was trying to get one into the right field seats, but that sports hernia to be able to turn on that ball next year a little bit different.
So here's Trumbo. Lots of power here. Got to be careful. First pitch, a strike. Trumbo doubled in the 4th, but was stranded. Home runs with the Mariners. In the hole, Simeon has it, straightens up, throws in time, 2 away.
Marcus Simeon to his right, and then right over the top, 4-seam grip. Good throw to Mark Canha. It's Mark Trumbo.
7 consecutive Mariners hitters have been retired.
I wonder what Simeon's going to do tomorrow about 2 o'clock. Is he going to be hitting some field and work on ground balls? He'd be calling Wash and say, Wash, where are you, man? I'm here.
He's not going to know what to do.
Yeah, he will. He'll be saying, whew. Maybe you go over his alma mater, Cal, and work on some ground balls there.
Take a day off, Marcus.
Take a couple of months or a few months off. But as he told us on Friday night after the game winner, or last night, I guess it was last night, he said that continue to work hard in the offseason and see what happens with Ron Washington. That was the possibility of a managerial opening. He interviewed him, but if not, and he's back, then they will be spending a lot of time in the backfields and early in the morning, so that all the work in the afternoon will not have to take place during the season. It's called muscle memory.
Yeah.
Just work and work and work, and it becomes just habit forming, second nature.
Smith takes down and away, 2-1. Seth Smith has walked a couple times today, and he has scored a run. Logan Morrison would be next if Smith were to get aboard. There are 2 outs. Shift is on for Smith. He lays off, and it's 3-1. Rodriguez 1 inning, all zeros. Out in front.
Rindell made a good pitch outside part of the plate. Seth Smith trying to pull one into the seats, and that's a difference in the location of the pitches. What you want to do as a pitcher, especially in these situations where hitters are trying to unload.
Pitch driven to center. Fold is going back. He's at the wall, and it is gone. Seth Smith, a 2-out solo home run in the bottom of the 8th inning, and the Mariners have taken a 3-2 lead.
So much for trying to pull the pitch. Seth Smith did on the 3-1, on the 3-2. And Ryan Dole, center cut, and Seth Smith to the deepest part of the park.
Now, Ray, you see so many balls get caught by the center fielder out there. You just thought Fold was going to have room, and he did not. Morrison.
You know, I hate to think about Seth Smith, a former athletic, and what he would do on Sundays. Sam Fold went up, but the wall stopped him. He went down to the ground, but I don't know if he caught it anyway. Seth Smith, Hyundai Sunday. I mean, that would seem to be so often that Seth Smith would always do something for the Athletics on Sunday. Against the Yankees, he did it. Tied the game. And he's probably thinking, how did I hit that ball out to left center? But he just unloaded on a fastball and had a pretty good chance, or idea he was going to get a fastball, and he got it from Dole.
So now it's 2-1 to Morrison. Rangers game now in the top of the 8th inning. Rangers leading 9-2. Barry Zito starts to throw. Two-pitch swing, gonna miss. He struck him out. And Seth Smith with the big hit, a 2-out solo home run. So as we head to the 9th inning, the Mariners have a 3-2 lead. 10 for the home opener versus the Ducks. The home of the authentic Sharks fan is CSN, California. So hockey season starts next weekend, and we'll look forward to that.
And you can join Jose Canseco, Dave Henderson, and other former A's players for the 2016 Oakland Athletics Fantasy Camp, held from January the 15th to the 21st at the A's new spring training facility in Mesa, Arizona. Get out in the stands, onto the field, and create lasting memories with former A's greats. For more details, go to hendersonbaseball.com, or you can call 509-993-7338.
So Seth Smith is the hero right now. A solo home run with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning. And that's the difference now. 3-2 as Tom Wilhelmsen comes in. Could not get the save last night, but he will try again today. 9th inning, and Billy Butler to lead it off. James Jones is now in right field. First pitch, foul to the screen. A's post game live coming up. We will also get a chance, Ray, to chat with the manager, Bob Melvin, who has agreed to visit with us, win or lose. And it's 0-2 to Butler. So 0-2. Reddick to follow, and then Smolinski here in the 9th. 0-2 pitch, curveball, roll to the screen. Done our best to keep you updated on all those other games going on, with the Rangers now 3 outs away from winning the American League West, which would then give the Astros the wild card, no matter what the Astros do today. And Butler swings and misses. 1 out here in the 9th inning.
It might have been a case not seeing this hard slider from Tom Wilhelmsen, and pitch in the dirt. Billy Butler flattening at a pitch that was outside in the dirt.
Pitch to Reddick off the glove of Sucre, goes to the backstop.
I think it's great to look at the A's bullpen, and the A's trailing by a run if they don't score in this half. And it's over, yet Barry Zito, who pretty much has said this is it, is warming up.
2-0 to Reddick, who's 0 for 3. Fly out, strikeout, ground out. And that one on the outside corner for a strike.
Barry Zito got the lineup card from the Saturday game in which he went head-to-head against Tim Hudson. Got it completely signed by everybody.
That's good.
He had it put in like a shrink wrap or something. And as Ted Washington mailed it to him. So he's so proud of that. You think of his great career. Yet he was so thrilled to be able to pitch against Tim Hudson and the Giants on Saturday, and was able to have that memento, something that he'll cherish if indeed he finally makes the final decision, which sounds like he is. And that is to say that's it to his songwriting career.
So full count to Reddick.
The A's tie it. They see him in the bottom of the 9th. That would be great.
Payoff pitch, and it's a swing and a miss. Off-speed pitch, and Reddick missed it. So 2 away.
Last night, Wilhelmsen walked and hit a batter, lead off, and then all of a sudden the A's able to tie the game, and won it in the 13th. But this afternoon, maybe taking advantage of some shadows and difficulty seeing the ball and dropping some pretty good sliders into the A's hitters.
So here's Coco Chris. You see Vogt come out into the on deck circle. First pitch to Coco, swing and a miss. Coco pinch hitting for Smolinski. Way outside. Takes a strike, 96 miles an hour, and it was there, 1-2.
It's going to the same slider they struck out the first two in this half inning.
Here it is. And a little late call. And that's how the ball game ends, and that's how the season ends, as Wilhelmsen strikes out the side in the 9th inning. So Seth Smith's home run was the difference in this game, as it is a 3-2 Mariners win. So the A's finished this season with a 68-94 record. So certainly a disappointing season. 6 months of baseball. A lot of new players. We saw that in spring training, but just not enough wins for the Athletics. And Ray, it's not easy when you. I mean, there really was a lot of new players, roster put together, and sometimes a lot of different players. They just don't gel, and maybe that was part of the problem this year. But as always, the A's play hard right up until the end. That's